Hey, what's up? You're watching The Sit Down. I'm DJ Sixsmith. Kathleen Barber's here. Follow me. Brand new book from Simon & Schuster.
Yeah,
nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for having me.
So you've delved into this whole true crime world, and this one kind of brings social media into the picture now. So a lot going on here. What was the biggest challenge in putting this together?
Oh, the biggest challenge of putting it together is always to make it as authentic as possible. Particularly when you're dealing with a lot of this social media and technological stuff. I know that there are going to be people out there who are much more well-versed in it than I am. And so I really want to make sure that it's not going to be like riddled with errors, because I can say that I've taken an artistic license to a certain point, but I really want to make sure that it's authentic. So fingers crossed, but I think it worked out.
I hear you. And from what I've read about the book so far, it's like basically this person's starting to build their following, and that can be a good thing, but also not such a good thing. So what is it like for this character to deal with the stalker factor and people knowing everything about you on the internet?
Yeah, so Audrey, who's the main character, is kind of a social media influencer. So she loves to put herself out there. And she's been doing it for so long that she doesn't really stop to think about how other people might be consuming the information that she's put out there. So when somebody starts following her a little bit too closely and wanting to follow her offline, she doesn't even realize it at first because she's just so ingrained in doing this. And I still have to read the book to see if she learns anything at the end or not.
Well, I think that's the scary thing. It kind of blurs reality, not only for the person that is posting all this stuff, but for the person that's also following you. Because when we're following people, we think that's who they are, and then it's so far from the truth. So what was it like unpacking that concept in the book? Yeah,
that's exactly something that I wanted to kind of get at, that people who are putting out their lives online like that, a lot of people feel like they actually know them, and that they've actually made this connection with them. So Audrey in the book, instead of she doesn't just post still images. She also does a lot of Instagram lives and stuff. So she talks directly to her followers, and they really feel as though that they have a connection with her.
Yeah, when I think about social media, like I wasn't, at 5 using social media like people are, so I think it's interesting to kind of see how the next generation's using it. What fascinates you the most about social media in today's world?
I think that's exactly it, though, that when I started college, there was no Facebook, there was no sort of social media or anything like that. And then by the time I graduated, I did have Facebook, and then Twitter and Instagram came later. And at this point, it's such a part of my daily life and helps me connect with so many people. I can't imagine what it was like before, but I know that I got through the day without it before. I just can't imagine it now. It's very strange.
And it was so simple too, like we were writing on each other's Facebook walls, like we weren't using it to, promote articles, promote books, like the business factor of it all, or just to be an influencer too. Like that was such a foreign concept. I could have never even imagined that would happen.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And that's one of the reasons that I'm so interested in it, just because, it's such a far cry from the way that, Facebook and like MySpace had started out, and it's just
so
totally
innocent,
different.
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess the scary factor is that people aren't always using it simply and innocently, and I think we have to kind of deal with that on a daily basis. So how do you strike the balance with, I want to be authentic, but I don't want to reveal my whole life on social media?
Yeah, I think you have to be really careful because, since we use it so often, it's so easy to share everything and to be like, this is where I am, this is what I'm enjoying, this is what I'm thinking. And we really have to remember that we're not all friends online, and you have to, be a bit more circumspect about posting your location and things that would give away your location.
So what was it like second time around writing a book as opposed to Are You Sleeping?
It was much, much harder.
Yeah? Why is that?
Well, one, I was writing on a deadline, which I had not been doing for the first one. When you're writing the first book and you don't have it under contract, so you have no deadlines, you have no external pressure, and you can just kind of take all the time in the world to write. And so it's a little bit more freeing, and at least for my creative process, it's a little bit better.
Yeah.
But writing with a deadline and with people who have a certain idea already of what they want to see is just a different thing. So when I started writing, I assumed it was going to be easier having already written one book, but no, it was not.
Quite the opposite.
Yeah. I keep hoping that further books will be easier, but we'll see.
Can you take me back to when you were first writing your first novel, because you were doing bankruptcy law? Like that was a totally different world for you. So where were you at, and what was it like writing that first one?
Yeah, so I had actually been writing Are You Sleeping which I guess is now called Truth Be Told, but I had been writing it for gosh, I had been writing the characters since I was in high school.
Wow.
Like, yeah, I've been working on these characters for so long. But like you said, I was in law school, and then I was working as an attorney, and I didn't really have time to sit down and devote time to the story. So I was just writing these little snippets here and there. And it wasn't until I quit my job as an attorney that I was able to sit down and write the book, and then I just kind of like pounded it out in a series of months.
Did you have that moment where you're like, oh crap, did I make the wrong decision here to quit? Or were you just like, no, I'm good, I'll be all right?
Oh no, I had so many of those moments. You know, you go to law school for a long time, you invest a lot in it.
Time, money, effort, right?
Yeah, I actually liked the work I was doing. It just wasn't my passion. And so there were definitely quite a few moments of sheer panic. But
yeah.
I'm pretty happy with the way it's worked out.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. So it's one thing to write a novel. It's another thing for it to be optioned. Another thing for it to be picked up to a series. Like, what was the craziest part of that whole experience? Because like, it's amazing to publish a book, and now that it's a TV show, like, does this just all blow your mind in a sense?
It does. You know, and it was always just like one thing after another was like the wildest part. Like it was wild that people were interested in it, and then it was wild that Reese Witherspoon was interested in it, and then it was wild that Octavia Spencer was attached. And to actually finally see the finished product was just amazing. I just can't say enough how crazy, how wild it was.
I've seen a couple episodes, and Octavia Spencer is incredible. Aaron Paul in there is at a whole different level. And so like for you to see your characters in that, like what's the neatest part of that experience?
Yeah. Well, so they cast Lizzie Kaplan as Josie and Lainey Berman, and she's actually just kind of exactly as I imagined them, not just in looks, but the way that she actually plays them. So I think that's probably been the neatest thing, to actually see something translated exactly in my mind to the screen.
Yeah, it's really wild. It's a really cool thing. So when people check out this book, what are some big thoughts you want them to have?
Yeah, well, when they read it, I hope that afterwards they'll be a little bit more circumspect about the kind of things that they post on social media. You know, and like I said, just remember that we're not all friends there, and that there are people out there who might be using their information for nefarious reasons.
Yeah, I think that can happen politically. I think it can happen socially, and it's hard to not be naive and say like, oh, this is a good thing, but there's a lot of negative impacts of it. Yeah. All right, awesome. Kathleen, thanks so much for coming in. Her book is available now. Follow me, check it out. For Kathleen, I'm DJ. See you next time here on The Sit Down.